of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl!
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message: we will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Step into the world of movement and Native culture at Nimiwin, now showing at All My Relations Arts. Nimiwin is translated as Everyone Dance. This moving multimedia exhibition, curated by Josie Hoffman, delves into the connection between movement and identity, drawing inspiration from dance and powwow traditions. It showcases the work of Indigenous artists from Minnesota, emphasizing the fluidity of movement in our bodies, land, and community. Witness Nimiwin and its powerful expression on Indigenous art. On display now through January 18th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low of 27, then Friday cloudy with a high of 38. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lindale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. A Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Yes, a great partner and a big supporter of the MMIWR march that's happening February 14th, which it happens every year. And it's moving, and it'll be back on the avenue, on Franklin Avenue at the Minnesota Indian, or the Minnesota, help me here, the building.
The Minneapolis
yes.
American Indian Center, which we were at today.
That's right. Hey, before I start really messing up the show, we should bring Robert Lilligren on, our friend. I know we were going to chit-chat a little bit, but you could see that I had difficulty with that. Hey, Robert, welcome. Native American Community Development Institute, this Community Development Institute. I want to say more things, Robert.
Bonjour, Robert, bonjour, Haley. So good to be here. Yeah, how are you doing? It seems like you're struggling a little there, Robert.
Yeah, you're just noticing it because you're only on once a week, but Haley notices it all the time. No, just a lot on my mind. I got things going on with my nation and running again, but we were down on the avenue today, and the Milwaukee Sioux are putting some money down to try and get information out to the 11 tribes and the young ones and help them out. And it was really a great thing. Haley and I were there for the presentation, along with a lot of media.
Yeah, sorry I wasn't there. I would have loved to have seen you. Was there a big event? Is that what was going on?
Haley, jump in.
Okay. Well, no, the Shakopee Midwakanton Sioux community had their vice chair, secretary, and treasurer there today, and they were announcing the IndigeFit Kids program, which
Very
they're
cool.
partnering with a few people. Yeah. It's
And
like
the
a youth
Vikings.
program for kids. Yeah. They partnered with the Vikings and helping Native youth get better physical shape and take care of mental health as well.
I love
Oh,
it.
Robert, and I love the fact that these announcements are on the Franklin corridor, which we talk about all the time, and how important it was for them to be in Minneapolis and announce this. So kudos to everyone involved.
I agree, and it's good to see the tribes really holding major events right there on the American Indian Cultural Corridor. Wasn't that long? It was just a few months ago, right, when MIAC, Minnesota Indian Affairs Council, which is an official piece of our state government, met at the at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, and I hadn't seen them meet there at all that I could remember. And I just think it's important, right? We all try to work to build these relationships between our urban Indian community, our tribal communities.
Absolutely, and we talk about this a lot. And I had a question with them because there's a question and answer thing. But we have 78,000 plus Native Americans living in the Twin Cities, and also 100, and I think I heard 110 tribes that are recognized that go to the Minneapolis public schools, different tribes. So those numbers are amazing, and also it's great to be Native American here in the Twin Cities.
It is. And I think I really love these efforts of trying to figure out how to engage and create representation with all those 110 tribes or whatever that number is. And there's 11 federally recognized tribes here within the state, but obviously our population is a lot representative of a lot more tribes. And so how do we find this? We're not necessarily, like, if we live here in the urban center, I'm a third generation Minneapolis urban Indian, right? And there's if you're not a member of one of those 11 federally recognized tribes, you don't necessarily have sort of representation, but we're sovereign people, right? And we're walking in our sovereignty, whether we're within our reservation boundaries or not. And I feel like the non-native world is starting to understand this dynamic and the importance of acknowledging everybody's indigeneity, and it's important. But I do love it when the tribes come down to the urban core and engage.
Well, to be truthful, I'm really understanding too. I had no idea of those two statistics that I heard during our Met Council meeting. I was like blown away.
Yeah. So the Metropolitan Council, for folks who are listening, that's our regional government here, and I serve as a representative appointed by our Governor Waltz, to that body. And we've just in the last year and a half really amped up our engagement with the Native community and bringing in Native perspectives and Indigenous values into our policy making in a pretty successful way. And Robert, I really appreciate your involvement in that. Robert serves as a representative on our American Indian Advisory Council, and it's been kind of a different thing, right, than a lot of other advisory councils. It's really having impact.
Yeah, and not only that, Robert, I got to be truthful with you, and I've told you this. There are so many things the Met Council does in the 7-county area. I had no idea, because I'm focused and I see what's on the news about light rail and all that, and I didn't realize how deep and how much they have to do to support a good life here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, that's a good observation. And it's interesting as I talk to people out in the communities and stuff, not a lot of people know that much about the Metropolitan Council. It's not the most out there unit of government, but it is kind of important, like you said. In our country, in the U.S., every metropolitan area over a certain number, I think it might be 150,000 or something like that, are required to have what's called an MPO, a Metropolitan Planning Organization. And that's an important mechanism for allocating federal funds to things like transportation projects and other sort of infrastructure projects. But in our 7-county region, we have one of the most robust regional governments, and it's actually in charge of some things, right? And there was some enlightened politicians, elected officials back in the 70s, 80s realized that these regional efforts would be more effective, things like mosquito control and water treatment. It would be more effective if we did it as a whole region. And so they created this Metropolitan Council. It's in charge of our sewer, our water treatment. It runs our transit system here, which makes it all easier to impact that system when there's really one major provider. We have a few minor providers, but most larger metropolitan areas have such a jigsaw puzzle of transit providers. It's hard to make any progress or impact or build more equity. But we're in charge of planning. We're funder of our parks and open spaces, and so it's a robust body that's fun to serve on.
Including you, the people that are on that are really doers in the community and have a lot of background in doing it. It isn't just a ad hoc group of people. These people have been either doing this or been part of some sort of government for many years and have the experience really to help their community.
Yeah, thanks. That's very kind. About half of us, I would say, are former local elected officials, and then about half there's labor leaders. There's people who are really tapped into the faith community, the housing providers, and so it's an interesting cross section.
It really is. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, Native American Community Development Institute CEO, and we're going to be right back after this short break. I'm getting better here as the show goes on.
Sounds good.
Hey, we'll be right back, Haley.
Stay with us.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters. And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Coalition.
Hi, this is Frank Brown, Minuteman Press Uptown, with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota, providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in chances for justice impact individuals who want to contribute to the community and issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul Island Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we are here with our friend Robert Lilligren, and we are talking. I don't know. We always have these fireside chats, and I
There
remember.
you go again. There you go again, Robert.
Yeah, take over, Haley. Holy shit!
I don't know. I almost did it there too.
Yeah, it was contagious. Now, hopefully, Robert. But well, you know what I'd like to do too, and we only got one more segment with you. Is to ask you what you'd like to talk about in honor of my wife. She always says, always ask Robert what he wants to talk about. So I'm going to hand over the floor to you, or the microphone to you, and maybe we could talk a little politics, local. It's kind of a mess here, and
it's a total mess. I'm happy to talk about whatever you like. I mean, you guys are so good at promoting Native American community development activities. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. All My Relations Arts. The current show is about to come down. The next show is Rory Wakeham Up, a former All My Relation Arts director who's a very activist artist, and that will go up at the end of February. I think the 27th. I shouldn't. Yeah, go for it.
And Rory's going to be really involved with the MMIWR March again, where he does smoke screens and shows people how to gussy up their clothes, and always wearing red, and that's a big job right there.
It's a big job, and Rory does it brilliantly. And that screen printing event is February 12th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center building, and so they will do it. This is annual. Rory started. Oh, thanks, Haley, for putting that up. Rory started building this activity with the MMIW and our community back when he was the All My Relations Arts Gallery director, and it was really interesting back then. You know, and we're trying to figure out. You know, we wanted to make sure that these organizations like Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center and Minnesota Women's Sexual Assault Coalition were the leads, right? And then, you know, as you know, Rory as a man and an art director at NACDI, and you know, as the CEO, it was like, okay, we got to make sure we're supporting what these orgs want to do. And he was really thoughtful and deliberate about building this relationship, this partnership. We did a silk screen event back that year, but we also did some other stuff. I got to tell you, like we brought Native orgs that were doing support for women who were victims of sexual violence or trafficking. And there was maybe a handful, 5 or 6 Native orgs that we gathered around the table in the All My Relations Arts Gallery. And we put together a resource guide, right, to hand out to folks. And we learned during that process that these organizations had never been sat around the table before together. And so these people, mostly women who are doing the similar work in different parts of our communities, could, you know, come together, support each other, share resources, share their thinking. And so you know, you might think you're just running an art gallery or whatever it is, but really you're engaging the community, you're strengthening the systems around us, cross-pollination. And then, of course, the march on February 14th, Valentine's Day, is a major event in our community. It's thousands of people that come out and march.
Yeah, and it's back at the Minneapolis Indian Center, and I was funny. We were talking to Brian, who gave us a mini tour, and it was like, it seems like it's been open for a long time, but really it's just May.
Yeah, not even a year. That's new and improved, right? It's gorgeous, and then just some other benefits we have, and this is kind of, you know, we're talking about representation on the Met Council. You know, we talked last week about Ramsey County, where St. Paul is now has their first Native County Commissioner. Congratulations, Commissioner Kelly Miller. You know, and then in Minnesota, we have a Native caucus in the state legislature that is established and funded an Office of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Relatives. And so that's putting more sort of systemic strength to really address these tragic issues within our community. And so I think that's, for me, I guess that's just a comment on the importance of representation. Right?
Absolutely. And just to back up again about Rory for a second, when he was working for Native American Community Development Institute, he did the teepees on the Capitol, the red dresses, all these things that were just, I don't know. I can only think of the word explosive when you saw it. It was unbelievable.
Yep, explosive. He helped. That was during the time of Standing Rock, right? And so he really was a liaison to the activists there. We did art up there. He did his mirror shields. I don't know if you ever saw those, but they were to hold up to the state troopers and the sheriffs to say that, this is you. You're the violent ones here. It's really powerful. And then he did his Black Snake participatory piece, which was powerful. And he helped us generate this idea. We had a fundraiser on the American Indian Cultural Corridor, Franklin Avenue, called the Ab Stands with Standing Rock. And this was really an eye-opener for me because it was a big event. People contributed, people came out, participated. And I think, I'm trying to remember the exact number, but in this one-day event for a few hours, we were able to raise $36,000, I think it was, that we could then deliver to the relatives occupying, at Standing Rock. And I didn't know there was $36,000 on the avenue, that we could raise in one day before that. So it's just really one of those, for me, I had to recalibrate my thinking. Okay, we have resources here and we know how to gather them and to share them.
It's funny, during Standing Rock too, he was doing free silk screens in the museum part, and I went and got my jean jacket done, and I had with the AIM patch and everything, and I'll be wearing that Saturday at the Capitol. But there was things that Native American Community Development Institute were doing, I mean, for free for the community to come in, get a silk screen, get one of these Standing Rock eagles on the back of your shirt.
Oh yeah,
Water's Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one of the eagles on a white t-shirt. I still have that. Right. I remember that initiative. So yeah, so lots going on. I'm really looking forward to Rory's show. It's been fun planning up to it. And I'm sorry, I don't have that, but I think it's February 23rd, I think. But just check out the NACDI or All My Relations Arts websites. And
well, I remember too that there was like Star Wars characters that were bedazzled and indigenized that kind of freaked me out at first. I thought I was having an acid flashback, but that was in the 70s, early 80s.
And I haven't seen the pieces for this upcoming show, but it continues that theme. Does he call them Smart Wars? Is that his theme? But yeah, that's been an ongoing theme in his work. It's really brilliant. And he indigenizes, like you said, Star Wars characters. And those are, themes of good and evil. And he did a big, especially with youth, a big participatory, almost like performance piece at the Indian Center one year where they were dancing, almost like a round dance. But then there was the war between the good and the evil. It was really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, and then he'll be back, so that'll be awesome. I can't wait. And I think we might have him on or somebody else on coming up soon about the MMIWR March and what's happening.
Great.
Definitely slip in there his next showing.
For sure. We're excited about it.
Yeah. So we got about a minute and a half here. What else is going on? I mean, this is a lot. It's like indoor powwow times happening. It's Enda Young's having their big powwow coming up, and I don't know. It's good day to be Native.
It is. There is a lot going on. We have a lot in this community, right? We're fortunate, and it's so empowering to move from sort of a mentality of scarcity that was enforced on us through forced assimilation, genocide, and to really feel this indigenous sense of we live in a community of plenty, right? Our cultures have enough. And so there's all the issues you've just listed. There's something of a calendar for things at the Metropolitan Urban Indian Director's website, muidmn.org. So if folks want to see what's going on. And then for us at NACDI, a couple things we've got going on right now. One is preparing for our municipal elections this year. And in Minneapolis, there was a 7-year stretch. I think this is year 4, where there are elections every year, just due to things like redistricting and state elections and local elections. And so this year it's a municipal election, so that's mayor and city council. And those are some of the issues that touch our families the most and every day. So it's to make sure people are aware and participating in the local elections. And then we're kind of taking that on the road with some of the other NACDI stuff this weekend, this Saturday, at the Minneapolis Convention Center, which is right downtown. And there is a conference called the Community Connections Conference. And NACDI has been involved with this since the beginning, really. And we've held breakout sessions. We're not doing one this year, but we'll be there present tabling. And there'll be other Native orgs there as well, but it's broad. It's neighborhood organizations, it's cultural organizations, it's some faith-based organizations. So yeah, I hope to see you there, Haley. And I'm going to be on the early shift, so I'll be there 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. So it'd be great to see you.
We'd have to go really early because we're going to the Capitol for the big march up there.
Great, good. I'm glad you're going.
Hey, Robert, thanks again, as always, being on and being who you are and really working for the community like you do, and Native American Community Development Institute. Big P&E.
It's always a pleasure. Gigawabaman.
Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
You may not think of it, but winter is a great time to take care of those exterior home projects. This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction. Most people wait until the warmer months for their exterior home projects, but labor costs are actually lowest in the winter. And that's true for the contractor I trust, Snap Construction. Arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation contractor in the metro. Are you noticing ice dams on your house? Or is your furnace constantly running and you're still not comfortable? In addition to your exterior home projects, winter is also a great time to get your insulation checked with a free energy audit from Snap Construction. The average cost to upgrade your insulation is oftentimes less than a new furnace. Plus, there are rebates available from your energy provider when you upgrade your insulation. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. So don't wait for prices to rise in the warmer months. Get a free estimate now by calling 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or go to snapconstruction.com.
You have a loved one who is not receiving the care that they deserve at their current memory care facility? I'm Aiden Helene, Director of Community Relations here at the Welshire, and I meet with families every single day who are struggling with poor staffing, missed medications, poor personal cares, and an absence of engagement from consistent activities. 85% of our residents at the Welshire are coming from other memory care facilities that could not meet their care needs. Not all memory care is created equally. And if this is something your family is experiencing, I encourage you to come visit our community of well-being and see the Welshire difference, where we promise that your loved one will live with pride and dignity. The Welshire has 24/7 nursing, a robust activities team that provides activities 7 days a week. And when the diagnosis takes a 9-to-5 approach, so will we. Book a tour at welshiremn.com and see our community of well-being in action. That's welshiremn.com. Again, that's welshiremn.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low of 27, then Friday cloudy with a high of 38. 2025 is underway, but it's not too late to get one of our AM 950 calendars as a thank you to those who become members of our station. The calendars feature the photography of Matt McNeil as well as important progressive dates. Head over to am950radio.com for more information.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, speaking of Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, we were at the Indian Center today, Haley and I, for a press conference from the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community, and had some great information and putting their money where their mouth is and getting support from the Vikings. That was really awesome to see and hear.
Yeah, they're putting together a really great program that's going to include our youth and getting active, not only with our physical bodies, but taking care of our mental health as well. That was great. Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community launches a $6 million campaign to improve the physical and mental wellness of Native youth in Minnesota. It's going to be a 3-year campaign to fund a variety of efforts, including first of its kind place-based research project, which is going to be feedback they're going to take in from the community members. So it's all going to be mainly community focused and what the community's needs are.
Yeah, what was that called? IndigeFit Kids?
IndigeFit.
IndigeFit, thank you. And they're also partnering with the Minnesota Vikings in expanding team sports and wellness opportunities for Native kids. And that's, again, they're putting their money where their mouth is too. So it's exciting to be able to witness the press conference. And I know we have a short clip from it that we want to play and explain a little more. Haley, why don't you roll that clip?
Okay, yeah. First off, we're going to hear from Ashley Cornforth, who is the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux Community Secretary Treasurer, and Vice Chairwoman Natasha Hacker. Here they are.
Good morning, everyone. The Vice Chairwoman and I, along with SMSC Chairman Cole Miller and members of our community, are excited to be here today to announce a new philanthropic initiative by our tribe. As tribal leaders, we have a responsibility within our own community to look after the health of our tribal members. And as we are guided by the Dakota tradition of helping others, our tribe is a major philanthropic funder in Minnesota and throughout Indian country. We believe it is important for our tribe to dedicate ourselves to helping ensure the good health of future generations of Native people and the essential vitality of our sister tribal nations and Native communities. Like all Minnesotans, and indeed all Americans, we have seen how children in our society face greater and greater challenges to living healthy lives and realizing their full potential. Too many children today don't get enough physical activity. Many spend too much time looking at TV, computer, or smartphones. And too many kids have less than healthy, balanced diets. State and national public health statistics show an alarming picture about the well-being of children and adolescents. In short, a large and growing number of kids in America's general population eat poorly, get inadequate sleep, are too sedentary, and spend too much time viewing screens. As a result, it is no surprise that childhood cases of obesity, chronic illness, diabetes, substance abuse, and mental illness are increasingly common among young Americans. Since Native Americans have experienced the widest health disparities of any racial group in this country for several generations, it should be no surprise that among Native American children, the problems of childhood wellness are worse. Health problems are significantly more common among Native American youth than among their peers in the general population. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that American Indian children and adolescents have higher levels of obesity and cardiovascular issues, mental health concerns, suicide, toxic stress, substance abuse, and exposure to environmental hazards than other kids. The Minnesota Department of Health reported that mental well-being was worse across every measurement for students who identified as American Indian, Indigenous American. The Centers for Disease Control reports that American Indian high school students are more likely to seriously consider attempting suicide than students of other racial or ethnic groups. To help address these troubling trends, we are excited to announce that today, the Shakopee Midwakanton Sioux community is launching the IndigeFit Kids campaign to improve the physical fitness, health, and wellness of Native American youth in Minnesota. My co-chair in this campaign, SMSC Vice Chairwoman Natasha Hacker, will share more.
Thank you. Good morning. As the Secretary Treasurer just shared, the IndigeFit Kids campaign is rooted in our tribe's commitment to help others. This is a reflection of our Dakota value, Wo'okie, which means generosity and helping. The Shakopee Midwakanton Sioux community is pleased to announce that we are committing $6 million for grant making and programs over the next 3 years through our IndigeFit Kids campaign. We are equally excited to be partnering with a number of organizations in advancing the cause of better fitness and wellness among Native American youth. The campaign will be involved in 5 types of activity. We will commission new research to more thoroughly understand the root causes and map out solutions for better childhood health. We will also provide grants to outside organizations to build more play spaces, increase fitness and athletic opportunities for Native youth, encourage good nutrition, and so much more. We will also be involved in the creation of new programs with strategic partners, including things like gardening programs, dancing, sports camps, Indigenous athletics, and youth leadership academies. We will also work on awareness raising around the risks to and solutions for good childhood, physical, and also mental health. This will involve spotlighting role models for Native kids, but also educating public health officials, state policymakers, Native leaders, and the general public about solutions which can work not only in Native communities, but also for the betterment of Minnesota's general population. Finally, we will consider advocacy for sensible public policies which aid in the promotion of physical fitness and also wellness among Minnesota's kids, Native and non-Native alike.
We are so pleased to be joined here today by 3 strategic partners in IndigeFit Kids campaign's first activities. We have Kaboom, which is the nation-leading nonprofit organization working to end place-based inequity in the United States. The Johns Hopkins Center for Indigenous Health, one of the nation's top academic health organizations focused on the health of Native communities, and our beloved Minnesota Vikings, whose dedication to community service and youth wellness, including in Native communities around Minnesota and the upper Midwest, is widely admired and an example for others to emulate.
Wow. Great
Yeah.
program. The IndigeFit for kids.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great that how this was all set up too. There was quite a few people. It'll be on the news tonight, and there was quite a few news people out there because it's really important, Haley. Mental health and physical health with our community that's so under appreciated and counted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the important things that was brought up today too.
Yeah, exactly. And very much underrepresented in data collection. We know that a lot of just things that they mentioned as, high rates in suicidal ideation, drug dependency, depression, high rates of obesity, heart disease. It's just so many things that we struggle with in our communities, and we don't necessarily have the tools or culturally specific types of resources for us available because we're just so underrepresented and not really counted when it comes to health data in the state of Minnesota.
It's like statistical genocide. I don't
Pretty
know if that
much.
was mentioned or something to those effects,
Yeah.
or that term, but we're not in the statistics, and
Right.
I believe too, and this is just my own belief too, as the years, in the past years, Native Americans did not trust the government, so they didn't get counted either.
Yeah.
So it was funny, like the last census, which happens every 10 years, there was a jump in Native population, but I think it was just the young ones that were getting counted that
Right.
our relatives never really cared or did do that,
Yeah.
generally speaking.
Yeah. And it's so important to take care of not only your physical health, but your mental health as well. Like times are changing so quickly. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of violence. And to bring our culture back, we need to have, strong minds, strong bodies in order to do that and teach our next generations. I think they mentioned too, our lifespan expectancy is lower than our parents were, definitely. And expecting that number to continue going on the downward slope. Just got to take care of those future generations. And it's cool because this will include all 11 tribes in Minnesota, all youth resources. And it's not just, physical team sports as well. I know they talked about doing some more nature-based activities, having activities for younger age kids as well as older age kids, like hiking, orienteering, and things like that. But I know that the Vikings vice president, I think, was there as well, and he spoke about some opportunities to teach flag football for boys and girls.
And flag football is becoming a thing too, especially with the concussion era. And it shouldn't say the era; it's been going on for a long, long time. But people are finally talking about it, where a lot of parents don't let their kids play football because of the results of possible concussion down the rest of their life.
Yeah, and we know that, so many concussions can lead to impacting your mental health later on down the line too. So that's a good point.
Yeah, one of the things too, it's really interesting when we talk about life expectancy, Haley, that Native Americans, I mean, I'm an elder at 60 years old, and a lot of the reason why we're elders when that was made as an elder is that, that was a long time living for a lot of us. A lot of us natives don't average at one time, not that long ago, was average age was believed like 46 years old.
Yeah.
Of a Native American. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and kudos to Milwaukee Sioux out there, and the Minnesota Vikings. Will be right back after this short break.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
A home that needs new everything. Plus the kitchen sink. Life math is complicated. Affinity Plus makes it easier. With great rates on a home equity line of credit, we make tackling home projects less stressful. Visit affinityplus.org/rates to learn more today. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Howl! You had to take that big, deep breath to howl, and in the middle of a sentence, I do that all the time.
Yeah, thanks for noticing.
Yeah. Hey, we've had an awesome show here, and I'd love to, in this last segment, get our weekly update, Haley, from the governor of Wisconsin. And let's take a quick listen for our weekly update from Governor Evers.
Hey there, Native Roots Radio. Governor Tony Evers here with my weekly update. Just a few weeks ago here, a deadly, heartbreaking school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison shocked our state, taking the lives of 2, injuring 6 others, and affecting countless more. As the father, grandfather, and as governor, it is unthinkable that a kid and an educator woke up and went to school that morning and never came home. This should never happen. Not to any kid, not to any educator, not to any person or family, not in the state or anywhere else in this country. I've said from the beginning that I would never accept gun violence as a foregone reality or stop working to change it. That's why this week I announced I'll be proposing common sense gun safety reform efforts in our next budget to help address crime, reduce gun violence, and keep our kids, schools, and communities safe. I also signed an executive order this week creating a statewide Office of Violence Prevention. Our statewide Office of Violence Prevention will work with local partners, including law enforcement agencies, nonprofits, school districts, local governments, and even gun shop owners and firearm dealers to support violence prevention efforts and reduce gun violence across Wisconsin. I'm directing $10 million to make sure the statewide Office of Violence Prevention can begin its work immediately and provide grants to support law enforcement investigations, expand suicide prevention and threat assessment programming, promote safe storage and gun buyback programs, and invest in after-school programs to keep kids out of trouble and out of harm's way. Gun violence affects rural and urban areas alike and is a statewide problem with statewide consequences for people and families across our state. This issue has long deserved a comprehensive statewide response. As we begin a new year, preventing crime, gun violence, and preventing violence in all its forms must be a top priority that transcends partisanship, and I am hopeful that these efforts will finally see bipartisan support this legislative session. Thank you. Back to you, Robert, and Native Roots Radio.
Well, thank you, Governor Evers. And we put some tobacco out and some prayers for that shooting in that school in Madison, Wisconsin, and made national news. And our prayers go out to the families and the victims and the victims' families. Very important information from the governor here.
Yeah.
Hey, so to change tones here a little bit, we have want to talk a little bit about the big Auntie energy happening here at the Parkway Theater coming up on January 24th.
Yeah, that'll be with it's going to be Ojibwe Trio. You're going to hear some comedy stand-up from Deanna Standing Cloud as well as Trish Cook and a couple more, but that'll be this Friday or maybe next Friday.
Next Friday.
Sorry. Yeah,
No, that's
January
okay. You
24th.
sound like me confused there for a minute. I'm rubbing off on you. It's awesome.
I know, probably we were hanging out today. That's why.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But-
So it's at the Parkway Theater in Minneapolis on Friday, January 24th. 6:30, the doors open, and the show starts at 7:30. join them for an evening of Native humor, and that's Trish Cook and Rob Fairbanks and Deanna Standing Cloud, and they have a host, Gabriel Nightshield. So that'll be interesting. 4 people up there spitting out some jokes, and it's open to everyone. And it's a reasonable cost. And I got to tell you, Haley, I've gone to the last couple of them, and they were all sold out.
Yeah, no, that's the word around Franklin Avenue is that this sells out every time. People love the big auntie energy. But if you are unable to attend on Friday, January 24th, I know they'll be doing a Valentine's Day comedy show in St. Paul, I think at Indigenous Roots Cultural Center. I think, yeah, Valentine's Day, the 14th, in the evening. So save the date. You want to come join us in Minneapolis for the MMIR Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives March, which happens every year on Valentine's Day. Brings awareness to our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives and their families. You'll hear speak as well. A lot of stuff going on that day on February 14th. Hey, this weekend, Robert, cool thing going on. Powwow, one of our favorites.
Yes. Yeah, that's up north, I guess, right? Just getting some information on that. I know one of the things I have to just change gears before we start talking about
Go ahead.
The powwow is that I will be at the Capitol, and it's not the Women's March, but it's a march to the Capitol this Saturday, and I will be there.
And is that
so
the People's March?
Exactly. Thank you. And I'll be there, and I think they line up at St. Paul College around 11:30, and they end up at the Capitol at noon, and there will be speakers, and AM 950 will be tabling up there. So I'll be up there handing out stickers and talking to people, and that'll be indoors. They'll move it into indoors because it will be a little chilly tomorrow. So I just wanted to I just thought of that, and I wanted to give a shout out that I will be there, and maybe we can talk Haley into putting on her earmuffs and coming out there too.
Yeah. Hey, we could show up with a couple of friends and a group of people. It's always fun when you do it together. Thanks for reminding me of that, though. Yeah, that's a big one. The People's March, I think, is what it's called. But a lot of communities are represented in this march. Come on out, join your neighbors. That'll be fun.
And it's organized from the people after last time Trump won the Women's March. So if you remember that was all over the country, but it was a tremendous amount of people up there with
big
their
crowds.
hats and stuff.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Definitely show up. Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the powwow up north there on this weekend.
For sure, for sure. So powwows are one of my favorite things, especially in the winter, because we have so many powwows in the summer. We need them in the winter too. This is Gitchi Manidu Gizis, which is Great Spirit Moon. Sorry for how I said that. I'm not Ojibwe. But Gitchi Manidu Gizis, Great Spirit Moon powwow will be this weekend, Friday, January 17th, and Saturday, January 18th. So all weekend.
Yeah, and it's at the Black Bear Casino Resort at the Otter Creek Event Center. That's not that far from the Twin Cities either. So if I don't have the energy sucked out of me from all the cold weather that's going to happen Saturday, maybe I'll go up there.
Yeah, you could make the 7 p.m. grand entry time on Saturday.
Or the traditional feast. Oh.
They're going to have a feast at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
Good weekend.
Yeah. So things are revving up again. And I wanted to mention this too before we end the show is that NACDI Young always has it's going to be their 26th annual Cherish the Children traditional powwow on February 8th and the 9th, which is a Sunday. And so I'm really excited about that. That's a powwow that I really like to go to, and it used to be at St. Paul Central, so it was really close. And but got to go to the east side now and go to Johnson and
East Side represent.
Yeah, so that'll be all right because it's in their field house and it's huge and a lot of parking there. So that'll be awesome to participate and get my moccasins out there and start dancing. Oh.
Yeah, NACDI Young has a great annual powwow. That's the Cherish the Children traditional powwow.
Yeah, and people that don't know about NACDI Young, they do a lot of things for the community here in St. Paul. I know they have young people staying in there that are homeless, and there's families, and they've really been around the community for a long, long time. And it's funny that, if you ever watched Reservation Dogs, and Bobby Wilson wrote one of the series about a similar place of Enda Young, and because Bobby not only was in Enda Young as a youngster, he also worked there with Dallas Goldtooth, and that's how they met each other.
That's right. That's right.
So we're all connected, right?
Absolutely. It's that circle.
It is. Hey, thanks, Haley, for everything. This is Native Roots Radio. Everyone, have a great weekend. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.